My son has quite a severe brachial plexus injury. He has a rupture of C5, 6 and 7 and avulsion of C8 and T1. He was born through quite a difficult delivery. It was a shoulder dystocia delivery where his shoulders were stuck for quite a prolonged length of time. He was obviously born by them trying to do lots of manoeuvres for the shoulder dystocia protocol, and eventually he was freed with some excess force, which obviously caused the injury. He had his first operation at 11 weeks old. He had a nerve graft where they took the nerves out of both of his legs and out of the affected arm and grafted them in to try and establish some movement in the arm. He had to have his collarbone broken to retrieve the scar tissue, and he had to have a larger cut than normal on his neck due to the severity of the injury. At the age of 3, he had a gracilis muscle transfer, which they did to try and create a working bicep. That was partially successful. He does have some elbow bend now, but not quite enough to reach his mouth. Without both of these operations, he would have a fully paralysed arm. He now has quite good shoulder movement, partial elbow movement, but his hand is still very poor. He cannot flex his fingers and his hand is permanently in a fist. There's not much they can do for that with it being such a severe injury, so that'll always be a very poor aspect of his arm. Affected me quite a lot, especially through the first year. I was diagnosed with PTSD and extreme anxiety. I was also injured physically, so struggled to care for him during the first few months of his life. It was very, very difficult to manage my health along with the numerous appointments that he had to physio, OTs, orthopedics and the nerve specialists in Leeds. As a baby, my son couldn't play with toys like other small children can. He did hit all of his milestones despite his difficulties, although he did actually break his elbow trying to crawl. We've had numerous hospital visits to A&E because he has a lot of difficulties with balance due to his arm, and he can't obviously save himself when he falls over. So we've had a broken collarbone, we've had head glued, amongst other things. He's had numerous splints as his wrist is in the wrong position, and that causes him quite a lot of pain. He has specialist equipment in school and at home, which have been put in place by occupational therapists to make things easier for him. Despite all of this, he does amazingly well. He can climb one-handed like a little monkey. He can dress independently and do all the things at school that I was worried about, like carry his dinner tray. I wish that it was discussed at birth as a risk factor when mothers are deciding on options for delivering the babies who may be at increased risk of shoulder dystocia. I wish that the public knew the people that affected by it, the struggles that they have on a daily basis with things that most of us would take for granted, and just the sheer amount of work, that they put in to adapt in life. It's pretty incredible. We decided to bring a claim ultimately because we wanted an apology. We wanted somebody to say, I'm sorry for hurting your son, and to take responsibility for that, in the hope, that the hospital would maybe look at training, look at pathways to avoid it happening again to somebody else. I would say that the legal claim can be stressful at times, but to listen and to be guided by your solicitor. Tozers have been fantastic in helping us through all parts of the legal claim and have been very supportive. I also think it's really important and worth mentioning to go to a solicitor who specialises in Erb's palsy. They don't have to be local. I'm at the other end of the country, but experience is key for a successful outcome. So they've helped us so much, from daily support, on things like tips on getting dressed, aspects of daily living, cutlery, adaptive aids, to what to expect at operations, support through operations. It's been amazing. The fun day as well. So the charity put on a fun day where you get the chance to meet other families with similar experiences. And I think that's, very helpful. I think it's like the community's like one little family, and the support from the charity and from the other group members has been invaluable. I would say to try and not let it get in the way of enjoying your child and your baby. Easier said than done, especially it's difficult in the beginning, but to see the child, not the disability. I think is sort of very important and something that I wish I'd learned sort of earlier on to be able to sort of enjoy his earlier years. I think as well I would also advise people to sign up to the charity, become a member. The support and the advice that you get is amazing and something that you wouldn't get elsewhere.